Fire Control District Board of Fire Commissioners to order. We're at 848 Airport Road, Destin, Florida, September 11, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. The meeting is open to the public, and at this time I'd like to open the floor up to the public for public comments. Seeing none, I will close the floor to public comments. The review of the minutes, regular meeting August 14, 2018.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of August 14, 2018.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion to approve regular meetings August 14, 2018, and a second. Any discussion, changes, deletions? Seeing none, take a vote. In favor? We got 4, unanimous. Again, I'd like to make a mention that Commissioner Wilson is not present. He has an excused absence. All right, review of the financial report, August 31st, 2018.
Well, we have one more month, actually half of a month, to finish up our current budget. The statements before you, it don't have too much to say. I wanted to let you know that I have transferred $1 million from the day-to-day fund with the Florida Local Government Insurance Trust in preparation of paying the rest of the budgeted amount for the $175 that will be paid within the next week. We've got to make special arrangements for such a large payment. We will need to draw on the day-to-day fund as well as the short-term bond fund over the next few months until we begin receiving our ad valorem taxes again in November or December. As far as the balance sheet goes, accounts receivable are high, but they are collectible. 2 invoices out to the TDC. Accounts payable are a little higher than I like them, but again, just timing of 2 large invoices over $21,000 just for 2 invoices. So everything's current. And the remaining of the balance sheet will be adjusted for your next meeting, September 30th, which will include items such as recording of fixed assets, adjusting of accrued wages. The retirement trust liability will take a little longer to adjust. We need to receive back the actuarial report to complete that adjustment, which normally doesn't occur until sometime in November or so. But moving on to the rest of the financial statements, pages 8 through 13, we did receive our large payment from the state of Florida for the supplemental insurance payment, $261,000, and that has been put immediately into the retirement trust as required. We've had large expenditures for our physicals, our annual physicals. We've had those completed in the month of August and September. Capital expenditures, there's one item to mention, a $12,000 item, which finished out our new battalion vehicle for the lights, sirens, radio wiring, and so forth of the vehicle. There are, if you look through, there are a few expense categories that are over budget, but we have addressed those in past meetings, and further on in this meeting under new business, you will be presented with year-end budget adjustments to cover those items. So if there's any specific items that you'd like to talk about, we can address those.
Motion to approve the financial report of August 31st, 2018.
Second.
I've got a motion to approve the financial report for August 31st, 2018, and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? Unanimous. All right, moving to old business. West End District Station. Chief?
Yes, sir. As the board is aware, at the city council meeting, 2 of their meetings ago, they directed that Councilman Parker, the interim city manager, and our chairman get together and work on a plan to bring back to the city council for their review and potential approval. Chairman Moore had a meeting with Councilman Parker, the interim city manager, the city's attorney, Mr. Byrne, and David Campbell. city's engineer, and myself attended. I think the meeting went really well. We talked about location of the station at Clement Taylor Park. Talked about the challenges that were there, that we all faced, that they feel might be there. Based upon that meeting, we left it and had a subsequent meeting with Jenkins Engineering, Scott Jenkins, and talked with Scott about locating the station as we had, for the meeting that we had had previously with that same group, and talked with Scott about drawing 2 sets of plans for us, so that we can have a set that would be a drawing that would be submitted with the city's grant to reflect what the language that they have submitted. What they submitted so far is written. They have submitted no drawings. Before they submitted that 90% drawing list, the council pulled it back. So there's been no drawing submitted. So what we're looking to do is submit a drawing that will be reflective of what they have asked for in their language, but yet leave out the area where the fire station would be for remodel. We thought the easiest way to do it, because we believe there was some confusion when we kept saying add the fire station at Clement Taylor Park, add the fire station. I think they were looking at that's part of that project, and I think that created some confusion. So what we talked with that group, the city council, Parker and that group, was that instead of submitting the plan with the fire station drawn in on it, carve the piece out, hash it, and say not to be remodeled, but everything else will go forward with the remodel. So that way it eliminates the confusion of putting the fire station in. We'll have a second drawing that will actually have the fire station in it. And anyway, Scott is working on that. He should have those plans to us sometime this week. And then once we receive the plans, we plan to have a subsequent meeting with that same group and Scott as well, so that way he can get the direct feedback from everybody that's in that group. And I'm hoping to have those ready to go within the next month to the city council for their approval, I would hope. Chairman Moore can chime in, but that's what we're kind of hoping to do. We've had a lot of help from everybody that's on the board. Commissioner Buckingham has extensively helped all the way to this point and continues to help with this process, and with Scott Jenkins, because he knows him well. So we've had a lot of support from everybody that's on the board. So very appreciative. I think it's moving forward in the right direction. I think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of us going through the process. I think we're going to be able to get away, not get away, but I don't think we're going to have to worry about, if you remember the conversation that was concerned, whether or not it's going to be a material or non-material change. I think by making the adjustment that we're talking about on the plan, just hashing it out, it becomes a non-material change. Because, and the other thing I think Commissioner Moore can probably highlight on is that they're going to leave their proposed bathrooms on the plan, because that was a big deal in their narrative. So if you remove that, that probably becomes a material change. If we leave it, and then we go ahead and put some bathrooms, that way there's 2 sets of bathrooms there, I think is what we were talking about. That shows an improvement for the park.
Yeah, and they're talking about the dock.
Yeah.
The main thing is not encroaching on the beach area that they have established for the public, and if we could work something off of the existing dock, it would be, I think they felt like it'd be better off for the public and for us as well. So we don't have to reapply for dock, all that kind of stuff, for the, whatever you call it.
Permits and all.
Yeah, permit for
Yeah.
submerged land lease and all that kind
Yep.
of stuff. And then your setbacks, riparian rights and all that stuff from the neighbor and all that stuff, so I felt like it'd probably be best to leave it.
And Scott's checking into all of it, all of that. We had that discussion with him about location of the dock. He's going to check into riparian rights, check with DEP and submerged land leases and all that, being a government entity. He's going to do a lot of research on that part for us to see whether or not it's even a possibility of going on the south side of the park where the beach is, or whether it's really not. So, but anyway, I think it's moving forward really well.
Yeah, the consensus is that it sounds, it's good for the public,
Yeah.
to make it happen, so.
Just want to put on the record to make sure the city's not paying for one of this, that we as our entity are paying for this, and it's not the city paying for it.
Yeah.
It's not part of their after grant money or none of that stuff that is coming from us. And I think everything's coming out of our impact fee, so there'll be no impact on our taxpayers either. But as long as we get communication between, the agreement between the city and us working together, the joint venture, we should be able to cover that with no expense to the taxpayers.
So, yeah, I think it's a win-win for everybody. So I know the public will be happy that we have some better response times in that area.
Especially, that's our busiest zone, is Zone 1 down there, and that would cut down the response time tremendously.
Big time.
Absolutely.
It's
And what's even better, it doesn't cost taxpayers anything.
exactly.
So it's impact fees that developers pay.
That's what the impact fees are for.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, any comments? Thanks, Chief.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, moving to chief reports, beach safety, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have that much. We did have a tropical storm. Very fortunate, it was right after the holiday. So we had plenty of lifeguards to cover the fact. We had really bad conditions, but with not as many people in town, it was really easy for us to have a lot of preventative actions and 0 rescues. Just other than that, we were recognized by the city. Commissioner Buckingham was there. I'm sure you're well aware of it. You've probably seen them on the recording, the city recording. But for the rescues we did that first weekend in August. And then just other than that, just looking at the statistics, last meeting was record breaking, so nothing's going backwards. It still continues to be a lot of people and doing the best we can. But good with the preventative action. So just looking at that number, and then the public contacts is actually a fairly high number considering the attendance. But if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any of the questions. Harbor 9, those are final numbers. That's no longer in service as of the Monday of Labor Day, so those numbers will be fine.
Same thing with Crab Island.
Oh, and yes, about, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, congratulations, Joe, and your crew.
Thank you.
Sorry I wasn't able to attend, I was out of town, but I did see that, so
Thank you.
good job. So, how is it on the point now with the swim areas? Have you had anything going on there?
There's been, as every day goes by, the activity is starting to increase.
So it's increasing.
Yes, I wouldn't say it's what we are going to anticipate for next year. I have a feeling that once the amenities are put in, like parking, like restroom, and I don't know the city schedule on that, so I can't. But once that park is complete, I would anticipate that to be a very, very busy. And if nothing's changed since I've last spoken to the city about what they're planning on, I think the water taxi, having the ability to drop anyone that lives in the harbor or that can access the water taxi, and they'll have a drop-off point, I think we'll see some pretty good attendance there. So until all that comes to fruition, is it being utilized? Sure, but not anything crazy happening.
The times I've been there to see, they haven't gone outside the ropes, so that's good.
That's correct.
So
Yes,
those-
so far we
Those are
have.
working, that the city put out, so I think it's working anyway. I haven't seen anybody snorkeling out or anything like that, so.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. So good. Okay. Any other? No? Moving to training report?
Yes, sir, you'll see the guys got in 21 hours of training of those various topics, from tax and strategy to medical and company training. A good month.
Any questions? Inspection report?
Yes, sir, Mr. Commissioner, you got my report in front of y'all. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
None for me, thank you.
That car wash opened up yet?
Yeah, going fast and stuff.
Yeah. Crazy. All right, change report? Response change report?
Yes, sir, you'll see on page 23, that the 5-hour response time, we're hitting at 90% in August, which is good. We've also done that one other month again. This is where EMS is typically graded on a 9-minute scale. We hold ourselves to an NFPA standard, which is the 8-minute or 759 standard. A little bit tougher to make, but when we're hitting 90, that's great when we're able to do so. So 90% is really good for the month of August. And you'll see overall for the year so far it's at 83%, which is good. Anything in the 80s, I think, for us is good. Hopefully when we open, once we get to that station opening up, you'll probably see that come down some, because we'll be closer to some of those responses on that end, which will be great.
And construction, the construction goes down.
Oh, yes. And then on page 24, you'll see the breakdown between 9 and 10. You'll see 63%, and that's where we anticipate to be between that 60 and 40, 70, 30 range, and it's right there, 63, 37. And then you see on page 25, when we look at our breakdown of our zones, the zone that we are looking at putting in the new station is at 58 calls. Compared to last month, which was 90, it's lower, but comparatively speaking to the other zones, it's still high. When you look across, based upon the number of calls for the month itself in each zone for that month, 58 is still high, very similar to zone 3, which is where this station sits. And then you'll see in the graphs, 317 calls for the month. The potential was for 367, which means there was a 14% difference, 50 calls. And those are 50 calls that our assistance was not requested on. And again, it's alpha, skilled nursing facilities, or animals live and callers. We haven't had any of those lately, which is good, but we have had the alpha and skilled nursing facility calls. Below there, you'll see the response time change assistance not requested, which is where the 50 comes in. You'll see 38 of those were alphas that they didn't ask for assistance, and 12 of those were skilled nursing facilities, and no animals live in cars. You'll see where the breakdown of the medicals versus fire, 175 medicals, 142 fire calls, and a breakdown of 55-45, where, you know, there's a lot of times when people will say, well, you run 70 to 80% of your calls are medical. Well, when we look at it, we just don't say medical. It's, as Commissioner Wilson has said before, we look at multi-threat versus single threat, and the medical being a single threat. A vehicle accident isn't a single threat. It could end up being a medical call. It also could be fuel leakage and other hazardous materials. There could be other issues there. So I think that's why you see that 55-45 versus compared to 70-30, as a lot of departments do see. And then they did ask for assistance on 19 calls, which, and I say that, they asked for assistance on those out to skilled nursing facilities, and you'll see that breakdown of 13 and 6. And then you'll see the breakdown of the call type as far as medicals run. As norm for each month, our MVAs are high. One of the highest of all the types of calls that we do respond to are 33. And then unknown problem, which I could break that down, I don't have it here in front of me, but 37 of those. And then very typical of what we run in any given month. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? All right. Overtime report.
Yes, sir. You see overall 44 hours total for the month. The highest that we had to have coverage for was about 9 hours, and that was twice, 2 or 3 times, but not bad. No 24-hour hits, which helps to keep it down. If you can hit 3 8s, that's 1 24-hour where we can get hit with 1 shift. So it's a pretty good month really for overtime. And we have started. We've already orientated 1 part-time employee, we're orientating another, and we have 2 others that we're working on getting physical before I get them in, and we'll start working with them in conjunction with our full-time employees at building slots.
A good reduction in overtime
Yes, sir.
previous year. Good job. Any questions? All right. New business, fiscal 2017-18 year-end budget adjustments.
So we'll let Ms. Catherine kind of pick this up. These are our year-end budget adjustments. We typically do it at this time of year to kind of get everything back in line.
The most important thing about our budget adjustments is they do not add additional expenditures to our budget. So anytime that the district foresees an expense occurring that is not specifically line item, we try to figure out, can it be done, if so, from where, and then it's brought to you, as we've done all year long. So There's a few items here, there's some small items on page 31, fire, incentives for fireboat operator, incentive for open water rescuer, we have more people qualifying, increased physicals a little bit for some of our part-time employees, and we've taken all of that out of the incentive for paramedics, so that's balanced itself out under personnel expenditures. Going on to page 32, very minor adjustments in utilities to pick up for additional water. We do have additional equipment for beach safety. Water usage is a little higher. Insurance, again, very minor adjustment, $100. Repair and maintenance, both, we're having a little bit of repair here at the end of the year. We want to make sure that that's covered at $1,000, but utilizing excess monies from repair and maintenance of vehicles for that. Supplies, the largest item is fuel for our trucks. We are experiencing higher costs at the end of this year, so it's putting us right at the top of our budget, so to pick up for that. And then the remaining is going to be on page 33, under beach safety. As you approved at a previous meeting, beach safety, the TBC has approved additional funding of $37,000 for us, so that money has been allocated across the department as need be. And to make sure, even though we have money coming in for that, we don't make budget adjustments for additional revenue, because we try to keep our expenditures within what we originally set. So because of that, I actually took the $37,000 out of vehicles. We had a substantial savings from the boat repair, which is the majority of where we took that from. So what you have before you, everything offsets, balances, and we still end the year, we will still end the year to the positive.
Very good job. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. That's
She
a
did
team
great.
effort. Yeah.
Captain did a great job.
There you go. Thank you.
As always.
Any other questions? Okay, so we need to take a vote on that? Okay. Entertain a
Motion to
motion.
approve the year-end budget adjustments.
So moved.
I got a motion to approve the year-end budget adjustments and a second. Any further discussion? Take a vote, all in favor? Unanimous, 4 votes. Thank you. Insurance renewals.
Yes, sir. Ms. Catherine and I have had discussions. We want to bring it before you and continue to do so going into the future to request the commission approve who we have these insurances with, so that way you can also see what we anticipate are going to be the changes. I'll let her pick it up and explain a little bit further in detail what you have.
So we have, at this time of year, October 1st, we have 4 lines of coverage which are up for renewal. The first is general insurance with VFIS. We only have 2 options for general insurance in this region, one with VFIS and the one with a company called ESIP. Our current broker does have quoting authority with both companies, so he's able to take a look. We have been with VFIS as long as I remember, and the quote is coming in approximately 10% higher. Now, 6% of that is designated to the fire side, and I think that's very important to mention because what he's seeing in the region for other fire departments is a 10% increase for both companies, for VFIS and for ESIP. So we're coming in below the average of the industry. The rest of the renewal is attributed to beach safety. The carriers that are covering the fire side are also starting to write beach safety, and they're seeing more exposure on that side. These are national companies, and they're seeing more claims. So that's driven the beach safety.
What type of claim are you referring to?
We are
With
not
beach
having
safety?
them ourselves.
No, I meant for beach safety. What type of claim would fall under the general?
It would have to be liability. It would have to
Okay.
be some sort of rescue liability. It's not, it's not workers' comp, it's not injury from
Right.
employees. So more than likely,
Operating the
maybe,
vehicle, could run someone over, back over somebody with a vehicle, you know, any multiple of things where it would involve a life or.
Jet ski, run over. on
Could have
jet
been where
ski or
somebody
something.
was swimming and
Right.
you did a bumped heads, or you ran into somebody on a
Okay.
jet ski.
I just want to get my head around it.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
the same thing with our vehicle and stuff, so very similar.
and again, we have not experienced any of those claims, but the industry as a whole has, so it's driving the rates up. So it is a 10% increase, and we were prepared for that. Now, what we would like to request for this coverage as well as workers' comp is we would like to request that we renew for a short term, that we renew only for 11 months. We would like to get the renewal pushed back a little further. That way you're not getting this renewal at the very end of the budget. We want to see numbers before the budget is finished. So this would be, the carrier is going to hold their rate, and we're just going to be responsible for 11/12 of the premium, for 11 months of the premium. So we would like to request that for our general insurance. Dental vision insurance with Guardian, we're very happy with that carrier. We're very happy with the broker that we're using. Both renew October 1st. Dental increase of approximately 3.5%, while vision is decreasing by 3.1%. So it's almost a wash. We're going to see an increase of about $1,100, and again, our budget is prepared for that. Life insurance with Principal, no change whatsoever on either policy that we have, the group term or the voluntary term policy. And then the final is the workers' compensation insurance that we have with Preferred Governmental Insurance Trust. We are recommending that we stay with this carrier. This will be our second year with them. We are looking at a decrease of approximately $10,800. We do not have a final rate from them. Our broker has worked very hard over the last year to work to make sure that claims are being reported properly. He's been working with NCCI, which is the rating company who sets the mod rate for workers' compensation. And even to this day, NCCI is adjusting prior claims that we've had, so our mod rate is lower. In turn, our renewal was lower.
Are we paying for some of these smaller claims like you suggested? You made a suggestion about us paying for some of the smaller claims?
That will not take effect until our new fiscal year. We are proposing to pay for claims that are under $2,500, yes.
We're
And
still
that
receiving
will-
a discount even though we're not doing what he recommended,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Right,
That's good.
so not only are we
So
getting
lack
a
of claims.
discount, we're also, they're also quoting us on higher wages. So right now, I think we're moving forward in a very positive direction with this type of insurance. So, but again, we would like to request a short-term renewal of this so we can take care of this same problem of getting a late renewal. Right now, these entities are swamped with governmental renewals that occur on October 1st. So if we can move it back and renew on September 1st, it's gonna help this board as well as maybe even the carrier, the underwriters, getting us the information time.
So you need to,
I'll make a motion to approve the renewals as recommended.
I'll second.
got a motion to approve the recommended items in a second.
Insurance.
Insurance renewals, I'm sorry. Further discussion? Right? No? All in favor? Unanimous. Good job putting it together. Very good, thank you. Okay, appointment of the pension board trustee for seat 4, which is appointee from the board, correct?
Yes, sir. We anticipate that Patrick is going to have to resign his position from the board. We know that he will be here in the near future moving out of the district, which therefore will require him to have to resign his position as a trustee. So we put out requests for interest. We received 2 additional and Mr. Rice, who had submitted his, you remember back when Mr. Dutram and Mr. Rice has submitted, as well as what was-
Mr. Martin.
no, it was not, it was Santa Claus. Posey, Mr. Posey, I was trying to remember, I said it like Santa Claus. Anyway, remember when all three of those had put theirs in, well, Mr. Rice is still showing interest, and he's expressed that interest, as well as he maintains that interest to want to be on the trust, and we had two new letters of intent from two additional individuals that are interested in being members of the trust. So we actually had before the board 3 different individuals that would like to fill Patrick's position and be a member of the trust. I've been able to speak to 2 of those. Myself and Mr. O'Neill have kind of played phone tag, haven't been able to kind of connect just yet, but I have been able to talk to the other 2. They seem like really good guys. The messages that I've left and have received from Mr. O'Neill, he seems the same way. I just haven't had a conversation with him. So, you have them before you for the board to let me make a decision tonight. And if I say there's going to be, if you make a recommendation, I would ask the recommendation be made that whoever you recommend be appointed at the time, that your appointment will take effect at the time that Patrick turns in his resignation.
The next meeting for the pension board isn't for another 2 more months, right? So if you want, we can table this, and maybe if you all want to talk to these individuals ourselves, we can do that too.
I would personally like to table it, but it's up to everybody.
I would too, because
I've been out of town and I haven't had the opportunity to speak.
I don't have anything from Mr. Ray, so I'd like to look
I
at
can only
it.
talk to one.
And all fair to all parties, I'd like to.
If we
It's
have
absolutely the
9,
board's call. We just want to make sure you had all the information so that you could, at your soonest available, which would be at this meeting, be able to make a decision if the board so chose to. But, you know, it's absolutely the board's call. The board can postpone, or the board can make a
I'm
decision
in
either
favor.
way. Absolutely.
That's pretty much consensus. Tom,
Okay.
you good with that?
If you'd like, Mr. Chairman, I can call them and set up meetings where you and I can just sit and talk with them, or the board can just call and talk to them at any time, and set any meetings that you'd like to make a good.
Okay, I'll discuss that with you. We can get
Yeah,
together.
we have done that before, but we were kind of hoping to, you know, make sure that the board had all the information so that you could, if you chose.
Okay, so let's table that till next meeting.
Okay?
All right?
And then I'll see about setting up some meetings for you and I to be able to sit down and talk to them as we've done in the past. Okay?
Okay, next meeting is the public hearing on September 19th, 2018 at 5:01 p.m. The next regular scheduled meeting will be October 9th, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. There's nothing else in front of the board from the commissioners, staff. This meeting is adjourned.
Make
Thank
sure.
you.